I'm sorry about the lighting, just nighttime, living in a house, don't have a lot of room to film. I know I say that a lot, but it's the truth. So just try to ignore that if you want. Just close your eyes, focus on the sound of my voice. And anyway, I'm here to talk about Ant-Man, the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And before I just get into this review, I just want to say there are two things that are ultimately going to affect my review and ultimately what you can make of it. First off, if you're a Marvel fan, if you've loved everything Marvel's done, liked most, if not everything, ignore this review. I want to say ignore my review, but ignore my review if you're uh, not. But take it as an alternate perspective, not how the film actually is, because you're probably gonna have or will enjoy this way more than I. Second, also keep in mind that my opinion of this film is probably a little less than it would have been otherwise, because when I was in the theater, right behind me was this family who were like diehard Marvel fans, as they were flipping out over the end credit scene, which in all seriousness was one of their better ones. And I have the closet door open by me, don't I, baby? And they were just laughing at every joke. Now, but most of the jokes in Marvel movies, the ones they throw in there just to keep things amusing. Usually, it's like a joke, but they were like, I would laugh harder, but again, house. So, anyway, that's a bit of prerequisite. So, first off, I just want to say, hang on, let me just close that door because it's so distracting. There we go. So, let me just say this, Marvel's, once again, they're taking, I want to say an obscure comic book, but one of the lesser interesting heroes and adapting him into a movie so they could have him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And normally, and at first I was really excited for this film because Edgar Wright was directing it, and I love what he did with The World's End, if you saw my review of that. And I was watching this action, I'm like, yes, this guy's gonna direct a Marvel movie, yeah. And then I got bummed when I found out he wasn't. But, I held out hope that, Marvel's done a good job with obscure stuff in the past. I wasn't too big on the idea of the Thor movie, and then I enjoyed that. And Guardians of the Galaxy, like, oh my gosh, one of my favorite Marvel movies. So I was hoping, okay, maybe this will be something similar. It may not look like much, but it's going to be something. It's nothing. It's not bad. It's just like, I've more or less seen this movie done before, but done way better. Like, it's sort of like the Green Lantern, that it's not terrible. It's just you've seen this story done in other superhero movies, but much better. It's basically about someone who learns to use their powers responsibly. There's an evil corporation, blah blah blah, and normally I could overlook that if there were like interesting characters, but none of the characters in this film are interesting. There's nothing interesting about Paul Rudd. There's nothing interesting about Scott. Michael Douglas, he's does a good job of what he's given, but he's not given much to do. Evangeline Lilly is just completely useless outside just occasionally giving advice. Scott Lang is a best friend who is borderline annoying with his like, hey, what's up? And it's like this stereotypical accent that's so annoying. And the villain is very two-dimensional. He's not that interesting. Again, it's sort of like an underdeveloped version of Jeff Bridges' character from Iron Man. You have a guy who's an evil businessman who gets a suit similar to the bad guy, and they showed this in the trailer. And I'm just going through. Just lost my train of thought for a second. And normally, what's sad? Because I saw this film called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which, similar premise, not so interesting characters, but cool, but it involves shrinking. But the difference is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, at least, it was clearly an effects movie, but the effects were good. The sets look good, the effects on the ants look good. Here, nothing looks special, and I think a lot of it's just because I mean, it's not terrible action, and honestly, I think if they hadn't showed the one awesome scene, like the climax, if they hadn't showed the climax in the trailer, I might have been impressed by the amusing bit of that. But since they showed it, it lost its value, and I was just sitting there thinking, "Wow, I feel like Edgar Wright could have done a lot more, had a lot more creativity with the action. Like it's a, don't get me wrong, the effects of him shrinking and stuff are cool, but it's not like, whoa, this is really fun, and that's kind of a bummer." And even the heist premise, I mean, like, you're doing a heist movie. Like, you could have so much fun with it, but the heist is like a couple minutes and there's not really a lot of tension. It's not really fun or elaborate, and maybe it's just because saw Mission Impossible 4 a week or two ago. But yeah, I was like, wow, like, you know, you had some potential here to sort of like rival Mission Impossible of a heist movie, but you don't do anything. Speaking of which, cannot wait for Rogue Nation. That looks like so much fun. And I'm really curious to see what Edgar Wright would have done, because I feel like he would have done something really special with this. Because I mean, what we got wasn't bad, but it at the end of the day, I just feel like they just did nothing with this movie. Just like, and this might have just been the end credit scene, because the end credit scene teases a much bigger, more awesome movie, similar to the Wolverine. How like you go on this adventure and then they tease this, oh my gosh, big movie. Like the end credit scene just very much underwhelmed the entire movie, because it's sort of, okay, we just made this movie to introduce Ant-Man, so that way we can have him show up in the next movie. And if it's anything like the Wolverine, then hopefully the next movie will be better and a lot of fun. Like, I mean, I've read the Civil War comic and it's pretty good, so I hopefully will be in good shape. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's not like an awful embarrassment comic book film, but there's like nothing special or unique or interesting about this film. And again, it almost feels like after Edgar Wright left, they just quickly wrote a very easy draft, like based off of so many comic book movie cliches, and just put it out there. And yeah, I'm just really curious to see what Edgar Wright would have brought this. How much of this is his original vision? What did they change and why? What specific points in the story were Marvel and Edgar Wright going back and forth on? Yeah, so I'm curious. And again, like if you haven't, again, if you're a Marvel fan, this is not going to affect you. You're going to overlook all these flaws, love it, and say it's like one of the best movies ever. And good for you. I mean, I do sort of envy you. I do wish I could look at it that way, but I mean, oh well. Oh yeah, and in case you're wondering, there is a cameo by another character in the MCU, and I thought that scene, while it didn't add anything to the story, was quite fun. And yes, I did love the end credits scene. It was pretty cool. One of the better ones, I think. So now I'm going to get into the trailers. I had the 16 minutes worth of trailers, which I'm going to cover in a couple minutes. So first we got the Mockingjay Part 2 trailer, which still looks pretty good. I'm excited to see it. I've already talked about this trailer before. I've gotten it like 2 or 3 times already. Got a new Fantastic Four trailer, and this, like, with each trailer they keep trying to make things more and more like, make it seem like a fun movie, like a Marvel movie. I don't know if, I'm unclear if the tone is going to be fun like the other Fantastic Four movies, or they're going to go for more serious route. They didn't show a whole lot of new footage. Like, throughout these trailers, they've been just recycling most of the footage, which I think, on one end, I think it's smart, because it's not, again, there's like a huge chunk of this movie that we don't know, and if like maybe there's like a really good film there that they don't want to give away, they want you to experience, but at the same time, like, or they could be they don't have much to show. I do find it interesting how we're 3 movies in and we have yet to hear the Thing say a word, like even in rock, like in human form and rock form. I wonder if there's anything to that. But I mean, the chemistry between the characters seems to be shining, and hope and hopefully they're just they focus on making a good movie, and they don't focus on setting up future films, because they could make something fun, and or watch I'm just a one person who likes Fantastic Four when it comes out. I got the trailer for MI5. I already saw it and talked about it when I did Jurassic World. It still looks fun. There is one thing I'm going to say about it. I'm a bit more optimistic about it, considering, first off, it's probably going to be a better heist movie than Ant-Man. And also, like, there was like a the lad that played before the trailer talking about how the plane scene was all practical effects, and that impresses me because I always like when action's done with practical effects because it looks more real. And I'm excited to see. So now I'm a bit more excited for it. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see more of that underwater sequence. I'm excited to see whatever other action scenes they put in the trailer and Tom Cruise run. I got Everest, don't really looks like a generic survival flick. Finest Star Wars looks and the Star Wars movie fanboyed out a little. And I'm still a little nervous at the film, but I'm hoping it's good because this has kind of been a lackluster year for me, and I want something really good to come out, and hopefully that's it. But we'll see. I'm already starting to jigsaw the story together in my head based on the trailers, and I think it's going to be a nod to Tatooine. We're going to start off with battle, then go to that, desert planet. I think John Boyega Stormtrooper is going to steal the TIE Fighter, rebel. That's where we're going to open. He's rebelling. Crashes on the planet, meets up with Daisy Ridley's character. Then they meet up with Han, and then they fly around for a bit, and then they meet up with the rebellion. And either the climax is going to be on that snow planet with the Kylo Ren guy, or it's going to be on in the place where the X-Wings find the guy's like, woohoo! And once we get off the desert planet, we're going to get into the bigger story and the bigger rebellion. I just wanted to get that prediction out there before the movie came out. But yeah, so I really don't have that much to say again. It was alright. I mean, I probably would have enjoyed it more if it wasn't for the people sitting behind me being obnoxious, but again, could be worse. I mean, it could have been Ang Lee Hulk, it could have been Catwoman. So, I'm curious what you think. Did you like Ant-Man? Comment below and let me know. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe. And do not comment about the lens flare. I hate it as much as you guys, but I'm very limited in shooting locations. Until next time, this is JStar60, and I'll see you guys later.